Hi, boys and girls. Unicorns. Whatever the fuck you are. Speaking of unicorns, I work at a coffee shop now, and let me show you guys something that was on the door of both of the bathrooms at the coffee shop where I work. Now brace yourselves, you guys, this is very politically incorrect, okay? So any candy asses in the vortex, you probably should stop watching this or just kill yourself. I know people are probably wondering, why do you always tell people to kill themselves? Well, first of all, if you're a candy ass, you know, you don't know how to deal with life anyway. So really, when I say kill yourself, you know, you'd really be doing yourself a favor. Yourself and, you know, everybody else that has to put up with your bullshit. And you ruining parties, and you ruining regular-ass conversations, and comedy, and movies, and music, and all kinds of shit, you know? Like, so really, you know, it would be a blessing if you committed suicide. A blessing. That's right. A blessing. But also, like, you're definitely not going to last. Especially when Donald Trump gets reelected. You're not going to make it. So it would really be good for you, you know? Like, you would be better off if you were, you know, just not living anymore. And you're not living anyway, you know, considering the fact that you're probably, like, completely addicted to your phone, and you're popping pills all the time, and, you know, you constantly need an escape. So obviously, like, you're not really fit, you know? So really, when I say kill yourself, like, I mean that in the nicest possible way, okay? So if you can't handle something like this, you see what that says? Hold up. It's a picture of a woman and a man and a unicorn. And it says, whatever, just wash your hands. And for those of you wondering, yes, there were some people who got offended by that and wrote a bad review. So if you're one of those people, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're not worthy of life. And you could say, how judgmental. You are so judgmental. You're right. I am judgmental. There's nothing wrong with being judgmental if you're judging the right shit. Anyway. Besides, all the people that say that you're a judgmental person, these are people that are judging you for judging others. So, obviously, just saying the word judgmental, like, that's a judgment, you dumbass. I just get so annoyed with all these, like, holier-than-thou pieces of shit that have no idea what they're talking about. And, you know, if I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm, like, open about it. You know, I'm like, I'm just talking shit right now. Don't trust me. Like, don't trust anybody, period. But really, don't trust some wacky-ass YouTuber, you know? Because, like, I'm just saying things, you know? I'm just talking out of my ass. Everybody talks out of their ass, whether they acknowledge that or not. So, what I find personally annoying is, like, when people that, you know, they act like they're doing something special, you know? And, hopefully you never get that vibe from me. I try to be as real as I possibly can, but I also realize how obnoxious I sound a lot of the time, and that I, you know, I'm definitely not, like, that smart. I mean, I might be smart the way that I look at the, I
I interpret the world in a certain way. And I feel like my what do you call it? Assessment. My assessment is generally correct. I don't want it to be correct. I wish that I were wrong about people, places, and things. I really wish that I were wrong. I wish that people surprised me. I wish that people weren't such a disappointment. I wish that I could rely on people to do what they say they're going to do. But most of the time, they're full of shit, too. So, and by the way, I'm looking for my keys. I got into the car, but I don't lock my car. So, hold up, you guys. You had your keys, though. I know, because I heard them. Unless somebody stole them. Why would somebody steal my fucking keys? Why would that happen? Who would fucking do that shit? Nobody in their right mind would be like, I'm gonna take that bitch's keys just to fuck with her. You know? Why would somebody do that shit? That's stupid. Anyway. Huh. Oh, wait. In the fucking ignition. Go figure. So, I was just talking to this chick about feminism and how it's, you know, terrible for women. And I meet so many women that feel this exact same way. And most of them work in restaurants, because if you're a chick that can handle working at a restaurant, then you're probably not a feminist, because feminists are really ignorant, arrogant, and incompetent, and you can't be ignorant, arrogant, and incompetent and work at a restaurant and last very long, because working at a restaurant, that'll teach you real quick how the world works. The world just chews you up and spits you out and doesn't give a fuck about your little sob story. And it's no place for a feminist. But yeah, I meet these women pretty regularly that have a very low opinion of feminists and this politically correct culture that we live in, and how easily people get offended and all this bullshit. And she told me, this chick I was talking to, her name's Amanda, she told me that she wants to see me do stand-up comedy. And you know, it always makes me nervous when people tell me that they want to see me do stand-up comedy, or they're like, hey, I want to check out your YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, I don't know if you'd like it. You probably unsubscribe. It's okay. Rejection is a thing I'm used to. So, I find it funny that I have this fear of rejection, supposedly because I'm a borderline personality, and yet I have to deal with rejection on a pretty regular basis. A friend of mine, well, I guess I should say a former friend of mine, just recently rejected me. He sent me a text message that said, I don't want to see you anymore or talk to you anymore. It's pointless. So, what do you say to that? Absolutely nothing. That's how I responded. Because he said he didn't want to talk anymore. So I was like, okay. Capiche. It kind of sucks though, because, you know, I feel like the longer that I've lived my life, and it's not just due to my politics, but it does have a lot to do with that. In this case, it didn't. But this guy has the same disorder that I have. Like, he's a borderline. He wouldn't even know that if it weren't for me. In fact, most of the people that have all this psychological shit going on, they wouldn't be anywhere without my fucking advice. And I know that sounds arrogant, but if you talk to me for a prolonged period of time, if you latch on to me for any reason, it's because you're obviously crazy, okay? Like, there's no other reason why you would feel the need to talk to me. Most people are afraid of me. Most people are intimidated by me. They don't want anything to do with me. So if you like this channel, if you like the shit that I have to say, you are probably crazy. That's not a bad thing. This world is crazy. And if you can admit that you got psychological shit going on, you're far better than the majority of human beings that exist right now. So congratulations. That's a compliment from me. Anywho, this cat who's no longer speaking to me, he does the same push-pull shit that I do. It's just I'm completely aware of this obnoxious characteristic that is pretty, it's a pretty borderline thing. Like, it's more borderline than like any other characteristic that we have. Mainly because, like, we're so afraid of rejection and we just assume that we'll be rejected no matter what, that we like naturally push people away before they can reject us. So I don't know if he did that as some sort of defense mechanism, or he just did that because he's a moody piece of shit. He's not a piece of shit, I shouldn't say that. But he's really moody and it's annoying. But he's not like medicating himself and going the typical route that most people go whenever they're moody, you know? By the way, if you know somebody that's moody, say you're fucking somebody that's moody, that's probably the case. Just wait. That's all you gotta do. I know I've said this before, but that person does not need to be on pills, okay? You just need to be a little more patient. I think that the problem is that people just want to medicate everything, and it's like that's creating more problems than it's solving. Because when you're constantly putting a band-aid on things, you're not really dealing with the problem. And sometimes the problem isn't a problem. Like, I really think that people are making something out of nothing. And even if that nothing is something, shout out to Modest Mouse. Now, Isaac Brock is a total lunatic. I think it's really obvious by his lyrics that he's a lunatic. I think it's obvious that he's a borderline personality, and he seems like a total dickhead. But anyway, I was just talking about Isaac Brock with this coworker of mine. But like, it's like, even if that nothing is something, it's not something that needs to be medicated. It's not something that needs to be thrown out. It's not something that you need to freak the fuck out about and act like you're going to commit suicide. Your doctor is going to tell you that, because your doctor, who gets paid money to say these things, and extra money by the pharmaceutical companies, they're telling you that if you don't medicate this, if you don't do something about it, if left untreated, that's my favorite, if left untreated, you could commit suicide. But if you treat it, you could commit suicide. You're more likely to commit suicide if you treat it. Like, I guarantee you're better off just fucking drinking. And I say this as a former raging alcoholic, okay? You would be better off drinking alcohol every fucking day of your life than popping those pills that they tell you to pop. And I love it when people say, "Are you a doctor? Are you a doctor?" Donald Trump's the president. Yeah, I'm a fucking doctor. You know? If Donald Trump's the president, we can all be whatever the fuck we want to be. You know? I love that man. He's really opened the doors for all of us. Anywho. I'm hoping with this chick telling me that she's gonna come see me do comedy that I'll actually go do it. Because she said that she's off on Tuesdays. I'm like, okay, I really, really need to go. I've been saying this for the past several months. I finally finished that book on U.S. history that was 800 pages long. I'm reading the Federalist Papers right now. I watch both of the Democratic debates, foaming at the mouth. So I feel like I'm pretty educated now. I'm more educated than the last time I did it. And like I've been saying before, as long as you're constantly trying to improve your state of mind, and you're constantly trying to grow and learn and evolve as a person, like that's interesting. That's interesting to watch that, you know? My comedy is definitely, definitely, and it's definitely evolved from when I first started. So, I think that's interesting to watch that. It's like growing up in public. Or not growing up in public, you know? Like, cause every time that I go back and do comedy, it's like I watch these comics that I've seen a bunch of times do the same fucking material that they always do. And this friend of mine, Junie, I used to call her Junie, Jenny Kunzweiler, shout out. She's the funniest person I've ever met. Aside from myself, of course. But, she's the one that got in trouble because she smoked some weed on stage. She did this at multiple mics and got herself kicked out of the Nashville comedy scene, which is a really funny story and way funnier than anything that I've seen anybody do in stand-up. So she pissed everybody off. She got lambasted on social media, but she didn't have to say the N-word to do that. Like, I don't know who they bitched about more, her or me. But like, she got in trouble for doing something that was illegal. I got in trouble for doing something that a lot of people think should be illegal. It's very funny. But what I find so funny about it is that so many people were mad about it. But a lot of these people were pandering comics, and because of her, like, she gave them a story to bitch about. She gave them a story that they could tell shitty pandering jokes about, you know? Like, a week after she did that shit, there were all these terrible comics that were using her story in order to make jokes. That should tell you right there that she's way funnier than all of them put together. Because she did something that was worthy of people talking about it, you know? And if you do something or say something that gets people talking, not only is that funny, but that's a lot braver and more courageous than anything else. And like, I mean, the night that she, at least one of the nights that she smoked weed on stage, she asked me if I thought that was a good idea. And I was like, no, it would not be a good idea. And I actually didn't know that she was doing it at all these other places. And we had just smoked some weed in her car. And like 20 minutes later, we're sitting outside on the patio, and she just starts lighting up this bowl. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, no. I was like, go to your car. Go to your fucking car. And it was really funny because we had just gotten high. So I was like, damn, like she is really turning into a pothead bad. You know, and I felt kind of guilty because I was the one that turned her on to marijuana in the first place. It always happens. Everybody I've turned on to marijuana just is stupid about it. I don't think that marijuana would be a bad thing if people just, you know, knew how to not abuse it. But I think that that's the problem. And it's actually a lot easier to abuse marijuana than all these other things, because like, you'd expect somebody to abuse heroin, you know? It's fucking heroin. You'd expect somebody to abuse liquor. It's fucking liquor. But weed, it grows in the ground. It's a plant. It's totally natural. It's an herb. Those are usually the excuses. Weed's pretty potent now. And a lot of people that smoke it, they're smoking it like 10 times a day, you know? Though I will say, you know, smoking weed is considerably less of a concern than, you know, shooting dope into your arm. But at the same time, you can still get addicted to it. And for those that say that they ain't addicted to it, like I said before, as long as you have self-awareness, you can do whatever the fuck you want. It's just the problem is that most people don't. So, what concerns me, because, you know, people that have self-awareness, they probably realize, like, if they had a problem or if they were getting paranoid, like I've gotten, you know, and they'd be like, I probably should stop. But people that don't have self-awareness, those are the people that you really need to worry about, because they're not going to see themselves acting a fool. They're not going to see themselves treating people like shit. They're not going to see themselves stealing from you. They're not going to see themselves being a garbage person, you know. I wish that I could be like the UNICEF for self-awareness. I wish I could just pass it along to people in need. Because I think that there's several people in this country, like several 100 million people in this country that are in dire need of self-awareness. And unfortunately, I can't, you know, shake all these camera people out of my head. But if I could, I would. Now, I'm in Advanced Financial right now, paying a bill. Oh, speaking of bills, if you guys can recall, I did a video recently where I was talking about a bill collector getting to me because I didn't pay a $1,700 medical bill. And, you know, I said that they would eventually be in contact with me if they really wanted me to pay it. Well, I was absolutely right. I just received a letter from them yesterday, and I guess they're going to take my ass to court if I don't pay it. So I'm fixing to pay it. $1,700, $1,776 to be exact. That's a lot of fucking money for like 1 hour in the fucking hospital. But here's the thing, I'm not gonna bitch about it. I chose to go to the hospital. I knew I didn't have insurance. I was being a fucking pussy. I wanted to get on the drip because I was in a lot of abdominal pain at the time. I didn't know what the fuck it was. It was like the stabbing pain. And I'm pretty sure that I got some sort of test done too. I think that's why it was so expensive. It wasn't just like the emergency room and the Dilaudid I was on, but it was like I had some sort of test done. And they're like, yeah, nothing's wrong with you. So yeah, that's why I don't go to the doctor anymore. Fuck that shit. I do have an appointment with my dermatologist though, because I'm very fair-skinned, and you know, that'd be the worst thing in the world if I developed melanoma. All because I didn't have it checked in time. You know what I mean? So, I'm trying to take care of things before they become a problem. I'm trying to be like the complete opposite of the person that I used to be. And I think that I'm doing pretty good, you know? I have changed a lot of my ways. But anyway, it's cool because this bill collector, like, you can just pay in like really small increments. So I'm probably going to be paying like $50 for like the next couple of years. But that's fine. It's fine. Because like as long as you're paying it, they won't be after you. I mean, this bill was from like 2015. And I just, you know, forgot about it. But, you know, even with insurance, like, everything is still really expensive. Like, but, I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I would rather take expensive-ass medical bills than socialized health care. Like, any fucking day. And to people in the vortex that are complaining about our healthcare system, why don't you just go somewhere where they have what you want? Especially if you have money, why don't you leave this country? If you think this country is such a shithole country, why are you still here? I don't understand people that complain when they have options made available to them. Like, Canada is like right up there. Just go to fucking Canada. If you can stand that Trudeau bitch. You know, like, I don't understand, especially with rich people, like rich celebrities. You know, all these celebrities are like, if Donald Trump gets elected, I'm leaving the United States. I was like, they're all still here. They're all still here. Probably because they can make more money in the United States than any other country because of how capitalist we are. And you can say that that's the problem. Okay, well, if that's the problem, then go somewhere else. Oh, wait, you can't bitch about other countries the way that you can constantly bitch about the United States of America. Oopsie, I forgot. It's just so fucking obnoxious. People are so stupid. Anyway. I get annoyed. I get annoyed when people, like, bitch, but, like, they don't do anything to change what they're bitching about. And it's like, if it's within your power, and like I've said, it's not like you can't complain about something. Like, we complain about the fact that healthcare is expensive, but I don't understand why it has to be either or. Like, we either have to do this stupid ass system, or we have to become a socialist nation. Why is that? Why can't there be some sort of middle ground? Why can't we all put our heads together and just sit at a round table with a bunch of croissants and a fruit basket or some shit and have a conversation about healthcare? Why can't we do that? Why is that so hard? Do you guys remember the Constitutional Convention? No, you don't, because you weren't there. But the Constitutional Convention, they were willing to, like, put their heads together, sit down in, like, a very, very hot room and just sweat their fucking balls off. Yeah, that's right, balls. None of them had fucking vaginas, because if we had founding mothers, we wouldn't have founded a country at all. They would have fucking shed all over it. But anyway, the founding fathers sat in a hot room and they fucking talked about the best possible ways to create a country that they, you know, would guarantee them the rights that all these people shit on all the time. And yes, it was fucked up that we didn't grant those rights to all the African Americans that we stole from their homeland. Yeah, that's fucked up that we did that shit. And don't think that I'm not aware of that. And if you think for a second that these white fibrils are gonna take care of that, like, how fucking arrogant is that shit? It's like white fibrils are the whole problem with, like, the majority of, like, this country's, like, inability to, like, sit down and have a conversation, talk about stuff that matters, talk about stuff that, in a way that, where we actually get shit done. You know, it's like, I really feel like if it weren't for all these white people just constantly trying to be like, oh, no, you can't say that. You know, if you say that, that's gonna offend somebody. You know, you don't understand. You know, it's like all these people are they're just making it worse. Like, we're a lot less likely to have a conversation where shit gets resolved if we have to talk about everything in this fucking tiptoey way. You know, just fucking say it. That's why I like the Donald, because he just fucking says it. He doesn't care what people call him, because it doesn't matter what people call him. What matters is that he gets shit done. Only you build that wall. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm saying, I think that we need to have another, like, some like another constitutional convention, you know, where we just all, like, sit down, sweat our balls off, and we talk about what needs to get done. I think that people just are not willing to have these conversations. People aren't willing to sit down with people that they don't agree with. It's like my friends that I used to be friends with, they're not even willing to, like, have a conversation with me. They just fucking, like, I'm talking politics now. It's like friends of mine that are on the left. Like, they don't even ask me questions about, like, why I'm on the right. They don't even care. It's just like, there's no conversation at all. I guess they just assume that I became a racist bigot. But that's kind of stupid, considering the fact that they were friends with me for so long. Why the fuck would they be friends with a racist bigot and not even know it? You know what I mean? Anyway, people are really stupid right now. I think this is blatantly obvious, but in case you didn't know, now you do. Bye-bye.